Welcome to Stay in the Truck, the ultimate podcast for sports enthusiasts and avid gamblers alike. Each week, we will provide you with valuable insights, analysis, and tips to elevate your game. We will conclude each show with our Stay in the Truck Awards for the most boneheaded sports moves of the week. So tune in and join us on this thrilling journey through the world of sports trends and sports gambling. We can be found on all the typical spots where you consume your podcast and all major social media outlets. See the show notes for details. So let's jump right into this week's show. So this week we're going to preview the Sunbelt and PAC-12 Conferences. We're going to talk about the Heisman Trophy early odds that's been released, and we're going to recap the Open Championship. So let's get started. So let's kick off with the Sunbelt Conference. There's a lot of buzz around the Sunbelt Conference, and I think a lot of it is derived by some of the big-time programs that got impacted from them last year. Georgia Southern beat Nebraska, resulting in the firing of the head coach, Scott Frost. Marshall knocked off number 8 Notre Dame at home, which resulted in them getting kicked out of the top 25. And App State took out number 6 ranked Texas A&M while making $1.5 million just to play them.
Yeah, good old money.
There's some folks that are scared.
They should be. But we didn't even mention the defending champs, Troy. And they're co-favored again to win it again. Defense, absolute legit. Quarterback, running back returning. They're on an 11-game win streak. I have them favored in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games. I don't see why they can't do it again.
I agree with you. Gunnar Watson, the quarterback, as Jeff mentioned, is coming back. He was the MVP of the Sunbelt game last year, Sunbelt Championship game, that is. 12 of 17, 318 yards, 3 TDs over Coastal Carolina. He loves to throw the deep ball. He's third in 50 yards or more, 19th in 40 or more, and 25th in 30 yards or more. And he's got 4 transfers at wide receiver coming in. So big on Troy as well, Jeff.
Yeah, big on Troy. Schedule sets up really nice. We'll know how good they are the second week of the season when they go to Manhattan and take on Kansas State. So I have them as 14.5-point dogs on that game. We'll see how good they are. That'll tell us a lot about the rest of the season right there, because that could be their only blemish. They could run the table after that. It's possible. The schedule sets up great. So let's talk about South Alabama. Co-favorites at 3-1 to win the Sun Belt.
That November 2nd game is going to be big, huh?
Yeah, that is probably going to be for all the marbles over there in that division. It's hard to say. Right out of the gate, though, they catch Tulane, and Tulane's got their quarterback coming back. Tulane just beat USC last year in the bowl game, so they're on a roll. So, the season's going to start off, we'll see. We'll see how it goes for them, but they got 18 returning starters, and Carter Bradley is for real.
Yeah. Speaking of quarterbacks for Troy, talk about South Alabama's quarterback, Carter Bradley.
Yeah.
First year at South Alabama, he holds school records in passing yards, completions, and TDs. Guy's a stud.
Yes. Yeah, he is. And they'll get a running back and a wide receiver will come back with them. So, that is that west side of the Sun Belt. Those two teams are really head and shoulders over everybody. But it is really funny. My numbers, for some reason, guys, they love this Louisiana team. And this Louisiana Lafayette team, who, for anybody that doesn't remember, this is the one that Billy Napier coached, and he left, last year to go to Florida and start down there with the Gators. So my numbers love what he left, although they didn't play that good last year. They were 6-7. So the West is loaded. That side over there is loaded. Top 3 loaded. Now let's talk about the East. And it's a funny thing over there. James Madison, second year making the jump from the FCS.
The sellout squad.
Sellout squad, that's them, man. And they still can't compete for the championship. Or else they would probably be favored, to be honest with you. But, that is what it is. I don't understand, how all that works, but...
So interesting stat I pulled up as a dog fan, Jeff. You'll respect that. James Madison defense finished 5th in the nation last year,
Yeah.
and only Georgia was better against the run in the entire nation.
Yeah,
which just blew my mind.
It's pretty amazing, man. Well, and one thing about it, what people need to realize too about this school is they have some money. So when this NIL stuff starts rolling in, they're going to be players. They're going to be players. Next year, they'll be able to fight for the championship. So it's going to be real interesting to see what they can build up there.
Yeah, they lost their starting quarterback, but the transfers could be an upgrade.
Yeah.
They got Jordan McLeod coming in out of Arizona and Brett Griffiths coming out of Wake. So should be an interesting season for the James Madison squad.
Yeah, and then let's look at Coastal Carolina, okay? Grayson McCall, thought we was going to get him at Auburn. He came back. Thought he was going to Liberty with Jamie Chadwell, the head coach that left to go to Liberty. But there's a big booster over there in Myrtle Beach that's the reason why Grayson McCall's coming back. And the kid can sling it. He's had him on these big winning streaks these last 2 years. So it's going to be real interesting to see what they can do. Their new head coach, Tim Beck, former OC at NC State, but he's out of that Urban Meyer, Tom Herman, Ryan Day tree, Ohio State things. Guys, people, they rave about him. But he did Devin Leary no favors last year at NC State. NC State couldn't score nothing. So we'll see what he's got with Grayson McCall. I know he's got a good one. We know McCall's going to get drafted. I'm not sure where he's going to get drafted at, but he will be playing on Sundays, or he'll get an opportunity anyway.
Yeah, Coastal Carolina could be a surprise team in the Sun Belt. They're returning Sam Pinckney, Jared Brown, and Tyson Mobley. They may possibly have the best group of wide receivers in the Sun Belt.
Yeah. They're going to score some points. I mean, they're going to score some points, no doubt about that. That's never been their problem. They just haven't been able to stop anybody from scoring.
Right.
So let's take a quick peek here at Marshall. Marshall is the second favorite in the East Division at 7-1. They are still. I'm sure they're still partying off of taking down Notre Dame last year. But in all honesty, they were so good. Their defense was so good. The Hurricanes went up there and got him. Got the defensive coordinator to come to Miami. That's a huge get for Mario Cristobal. It's going to change a lot of what Marshall can do.
Yeah, their defense finished seventh in the nation last year, but they're losing quite a few starters from that team. The secondary should be solid, but, we'll see what happens. It was their first 9-win season since 2018. So
Yeah, and if you'll go back and look at some of them games, they were very low-scoring games. We wasn't having any shootouts, no 45-40s or anything like that. Look, they manhandled Notre Dame, and that was legit like the whole time. It wasn't just look what happened. I mean, once they got the lead, they kept it.
yeah.
So, good for them. You need things like that to happen, especially to good old boys like Notre Dame. But anyway, let's talk about App State here for a minute. Now, App State, they're this team many moons ago. I can't, whatever it was, 2000 or whatever. They went to the big house and they got Michigan, and they've kind of reveled in that all the way up to now. They've been contenders. They're contenders again.
Well, they almost beat North Carolina, first game out, right?
Right.
And then they beat Texas A&M, which everybody was high as hell on Texas A&M before Texas A&M showed their true cards. Yeah. They actually beat Troy last year.
Yep.
So
that's right.
They finished up 6-6 though, 3-5 in the Sun Belt. So the season kind of went away after those first couple games. But hey, welcome to football.
Well, yeah, welcome to football. You have these teams in here like Tony mentioned before, Georgia Southern. You have Georgia State who's trying to come up. It's just, they just lost their number one receiver. He transferred out. So it's hard for these schools to stay together and to try to make a run. But they're fun to watch, and you never know when they're going to sneak up on somebody.
Here's another just little fun fact I found doing a little research before the show. So App State is actually tied with Boise State in the most wins in college football not to make it to the playoff.
Huh.
Well,
it kind of makes sense. They're kind of like the Boise State.
Boise State, yeah. They were up there every year and just couldn't get to the show, the dance.
No. I look over these win totals, and I definitely do love that Troy over 8.5. That's when I'd play. Guys, the number was at 8 when it first come out, but I missed that. I did not get the best of it. But I would take 8.5 over. I think they have a really good shot to be a 10, 11 win team. You talk about the bottom feeders over here, this UL Monroe team, Terry Bowden, that's Bobby's little boy. They're not good. I just don't even know how any other way to put it. They're really not good.
This is coming from an Auburn fan.
Yeah, this is coming from an Auburn fan, yes. But I'm sitting here looking at my numbers on this game. I think I have them favored one time, and that is like a 2.5 point over Butch Jones, champion of life, Arkansas State team.
Nice.
Other than that, these guys are, they might be favored over Lamar, but that might really be more close to a pick 'em, to be honest with you. It's going to be a long season. 3.5 wins, I say go under. They might get 2. They might get 2.
They're the Colorado of the Sunbelt.
That's what it's looking like, man. It really is. It really is.
They need to snatch up a Dion.
They need to snatch up something.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, the Sun Belt's going to be it's going to be a good conference to watch. It's going to be there's always good games, great teams to bet on, a lot of good times.
If you had to pick a winner, who are you going with right now?
If I had to pick a winner, I'm taking Troy 3-1 again to go back to back. Like I said, this schedule sets up it's phenomenal what they get. I mean, yeah, that's who I'm taking. Troy 3-1 to win the conference and over 8.5 wins on the season.
Perfect.
Nice.
Good stuff.
Good. All right, so let's shift over to the Pac-12. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much going on in this conference right now. So we've got a returning Heisman Trophy winner. 5 schools are projected to be ranked preseason in the top 25. ESPN has 4 of the top 6 quarterbacks on Pac-12. Yet there's a lot of strange stuff going on in this conference.
This is the last year of your daddy's Pac-12 because USC, UCLA are going to be in Big Ten, and it's going to be so weird, guys. I don't know what they're going to do. Oregon is going to be a hot commodity for whether it's the Big Ten or the Big 12, but they're going somewhere.
Yep.
And Washington's going to be right there with them.
Yep.
So it's going to be a very different conference, but, you see these favorites, and this 2-1. USC is 2-1 to win this conference. Remember, guys, Utah got them last year. That Friday night, Utah got them again. Caleb Williams does go down. I believe it was in the second quarter. He does go down, does not get to finish the championship game, and Utah got him.
Yep.
So, Utah's only lost 1 game at home in like the last 7 or 8 years, something crazy like that too. So, but if we talk about this Southern Cal team with Caleb Williams coming back, with Lincoln Riley as the head coach, Oklahoma fans still hate him for that.
Cliff Kingsbury coming in.
Exactly. Dude just comes straight from the Arizona little Kyler Murray deal that obviously didn't work out for him. But, I mean, that's a great get for Lincoln Riley. I mean, that can only make Caleb Williams better.
Yeah, 100%.
But he lost some weapons, though, didn't he? Didn't he lose a couple of key folks?
He lost Addison, the receiver, going to the NFL, who was great. He was great out there. But they just reload. They reload on this offense is what they do.
Yeah, it's not terrible, Tony. They got 6 returners coming back on offense, 8 returners back on D. So they're reloading. But, yeah, like you said, lost a couple critical parts. We'll see what happens. Yeah,
and the portal was big for Lincoln, too. You see that. He was the number 2 ranked transfer class. That's huge. So he went and got whatever. They're trying to get that whole defensive line built up because they can't stop anybody. And that's been their biggest thing for the last 2 years. So, we'll see what happens. They're going to have an easy first half of that schedule. There's San Jose State, they're double-digit favorites. Nevada, double digits. Stanford, double digits. Then they go on the road to Arizona. My numbers still have them as a 10-point favorite. Then they get Dion at Colorado. They're double-digit favorites again, double-digit favorites over Arizona. So that whole, the whole first half of the schedule, they should roll.
Then it gets tough.
Yeah. They have to go to Notre Dame, and that's always a tough game for them.
Pick them there.
Yep, pick them there.
Utah.
They're underdogs.
Yep, 5.5 underdogs.
Yep.
California, they're favored.
Yep.
Washington and UCLA are pick-ems, and then Oregon there.
Yep.
an underdog there as well. So it'll be an interesting year for USC, no doubt.
Yeah, you talk about the Oregon team. You're talking about Bo Nix again, who was invited to the Heisman last year too. So that's Caleb Williams won it, and Bo Nix was invited, and he's probably going to get invited again this year. Like Tony said, the quarterbacks, there's a lot of them out there in the Pac-12. This Oregon team is going to score, and I mean score. And it's kind of like I believe they're going to be like the Oregon of the good old days when Chip Kelly was there, when they just absolutely went out and blitzed everybody. But can they stop anybody? That's the question.
Yeah, their offense finished 6th in the nation last year. The D definitely needs some work, but hopefully head coach Dan Lanning will get them turned around there on that side of the ball.
Well, I mean, that's what he's known for, right?
Yes, sir.
I've told you guys this before. I didn't want Hugh Freeze. If they couldn't get... Yeah, I wanted Dan Lanning, for sure. That's who I wanted out over there. I knew we wasn't going to get Lane, but anyway, I digress. Mateo Ungagalea.
Nailed it.
Okay. That is...
How many vowels is that in his name?
It's a whole lot, brother. That is DJ's little brother. DJ is the transfer from Clemson who's transferred to Oregon State. And a lot of people are like, why would he go to Oregon State? Well, he's going out there with Jonathan Smith, who has totally revived that program. And he's a quarterback whisperer. But DJ's little brother is a 5-star defensive lineman, and that's what Oregon has been trying to build. They're trying to build this defense up. They're trying to be able to slow people down. Very similar to USC. They know they can score. You see this win total is 9.5 for Oregon. I'm very skeptical on that. My numbers, I'm not real sure about it. I wouldn't touch that 9.5. I can tell you this, if Bo Nix goes down there in some serious trouble. But there is one big key loss on this coaching squad, though, and that's Kenny Dillingham. He just left to go take Arizona State's head coaching job. And just to throw a little background on him, he was with Bo when Bo was at Auburn. He was the quarterback coach. He come out of Memphis, come over there, coach Bo up, went out there with Dan Lanning, and now he's the head coach at Arizona State. So
yeah, that's definitely going to be a tough loss.
It's going to be a tough loss.
Yeah, no doubt about that. What's Washington looking like?
Michael Penix is for real. He is flat out for real, and he's another one that's going to be a Heisman favorite, going to be a Heisman candidate all year long. Kalen DeBoer, man, what a coach. I'm talking about Kalen DeBoer was with Michael Penix at Indiana 2 years ago. Kalen DeBoer gets the head coaching job. He takes Michael Penix with him.
Michael Penix, early odds, 12-1, Heisman.
That's a great bet.
Yeah, they finished 11-2 last year, had the second best offense in the nation, the number one passing attack. That loss to Arizona State killed them, though, last year. Just took the life right out of them.
Yeah. Win total here, 9.5. Y'all can see my numbers. They're favored in every game except against USC, Utah, and Oregon State, and those are all pick'ems. So that might be one we have to think about doing something with.
Yep. Lay some dime on the Washington Huskies.
Yeah, that's another team, and it's, they're going to score a lot of points. Can they stop anybody? They get 7 back on defense. Their offensive line is going to be key. It's going to be key for them. They lost 2 guys to the draft, and another one, I think, left in the portal. So it's going to be key to keep Michael Penix up. He cannot throw touchdowns on his back. So, it's just something to look for there.
Who was it in the NFL that threw that touchdown or something from their back? I don't know. I can't remember who that was.
Probably Cam. Let's talk about the defending champions, though, of the Pac-12.
Speaking of Cam.
Cam Rising, baby. He's back. Hopefully.
The other Cam.
The other Cam, yeah.
Yeah, you got that right. They're my favorite until till somebody can knock them off.
Yeah.
Presumably USC. 2 straight Rose Bowl appearances. Finished 10-4 last year. They're favored every single game this year, but one. With Jeff's ratings here, and again, they're my top dog until someone knocks them off. What do you think, Jeff?
If Cam is right, if Cam Rising's right, he's been hurt in the last 2 years. If he's back 100%, they get this tight end back, Brent Kuthi. Their defense is always so good, man. They're so sound. They're so well coached by Kyle Willingham. They're 4 deep in the running back room. I just, they got to be the favorite, man. They got to be the favorite. I'm sitting here looking at these odds, guys, and they're 5-1. I don't understand it. To me, that is definitely worth a bet. That is definitely worth a bet. Their schedule sets up beautiful, beautiful. If they can get past Florida, and I got them as a 13-point favorite, okay? Remember now, they had them beat last year in the Swamp, and Florida got them at the very end. Cam Rising threw a pick to end the game, or right there toward the end of the game.
Yep.
So that's a big game. It is the SEC team, and we know that Florida is not what they normally are, but that's still a big game. And Utah knows that's a big game. You don't think Utah has that game circled after how they started the season off last year with them? Oh, that game's circled. So we'll see what happens with that. They go to Baylor. It's always, always hard to go to Waco. Always hard to play down there. Don't know. I don't have the time on that yet. Don't know if it's going to be a night game. Hopefully for Utah it won't be, because that makes it even worse. But I got them as an underdog to Baylor. So that's just a 1-point underdog.
Is that because everybody's trying to visit the Magnolia store while they're there in Waco?
It might be what it is. Yeah. I don't know.
The players just got to get over there?
They got to get over there.
Focus on football? Or?
Yeah, so, I'm like you, Josh. To me, that 5-1 bet to win that conference, we're probably going to have to do something with that. So
I like it.
So you like the over and under at 8.5?
Yeah, I like the over on that too, but I really like that 5-1 on them conference odds. So I don't understand that one, but hey, we'll see how it goes. We got 2 more teams we want to, just kind of touch on here. And the reason, guys, where I want to talk about this Oregon State team is what really, really jumps out to me as we're looking at these, conference odds. They're 10-1, okay? They got DJ coming in from Clemson, okay? They got Jonathan Smith, the head coach, quarterback whisperer. This other kids, this Childs kids they got is a absolute freak. So if DJ cannot do it, then they got somebody that can. What's really going to hurt them, though, is that defense that hurt them last year, and it's going to hurt them again. Omar Spates transfers to LSU. Huge, huge loss in the linebacking core. Huge. Again, the secondary, they had problems last year. It looks like it's going to be just as bad this year. So that's another one where with an 8.5 win total where, I look at my numbers. Yeah, it's going to be close. But I just don't. I just would caution everybody, stay away. We don't know what we're going to get in DJU. We really don't.
Their schedule's favorable, so that's a plus for Oregon State if they've got one.
Yeah.
Really no out-of-conference games that are really very scary to me. Looking at San Jose State and UC Davis, San Diego State, so we'll see.
Yep, we'll see. And, it does get hard to play in Corvallis. It's very eerie up in there. And when they can get lucky enough and get one of these primetime games at night, teams are very weary about going to play in Corvallis. So, like I said, we'll see. We want to see what DJU can do. He was supposed to be the man to take over for Trevor Lawrence. Remember he beat Notre Dame?
He did.
And
he was all the rage in high school, and then just kind of came out and fluttered.
So we'll see. Him and Marcus Mariota. People remember Marcus Mariota from the Ducks. They all come out of the school over there in Hawaii. There's more, a couple more of them. So I think DJU has the talent. And I think Jonathan Smith is the right guy to get it out of him if anybody can, because obviously Dabo and the 2 boys that he had over there, they couldn't do nothing with him. So we'll see, man. Good luck to him. But, again, if he can't start, this Childs kid, man, they say he is legit. So, it's good to know you got that in your back pocket.
Yeah, for sure, without a doubt.
Childs is a freshman?
Yeah, well, yes. And we cannot not talk about the Pac-12 and not talk about Brother Dion at Colorado.
Wow.
Whew. Now I know somebody. I'm not going to say any names. That I believe he gave up 4 wins, if I'm not mistaken.
I took the over 5.
5. It was 5.
Yeah, it was 5. But when I took the over at 5, in my defense, Vegas had them at 5.5. So I was still favored at that time. Then 52 players left, 43 since the conclusion of the spring game. And I don't know if you guys watched that Colorado spring game, but I don't even know what they were doing. They were playing ping pong or curling or some sport that I never even know of, because you'd score a touchdown and they'd get 4 points, and they'd kick an extra point and get 6 points. And
I never saw anything like it in my life.
yeah, it was the craziest spring game, the craziest football game I've ever watched in my life. I had no clue what was even going on there. Yeah. So, yeah, they start out tough with TCU. Yeah, I'm liking the guy that bet against me at this point. I got to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, you just look at that. They are double-digit dogs. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times double-digit dogs. And I'll be honest with you, that Colorado State game, that Colorado State's a well-improved team. So they'll definitely be ready for Colorado when they come calling. So
Can you imagine if Colorado State beats Colorado
Deion,
after all of this hoopla?
It's going to be rough.
Wow.
Deion knows, though. You know, I think he knows. I think he knows that, hey, this is not going to be, done overnight here. He brought his son with him, Shador, who's, we'll see how good he is. But this isn't Jackson State anymore now. This isn't just, that kind of deal. But Sean Lewis left the head coaching job at Kent State to come be the OC, which the guys all about tempo. That's what they want to do. That's what Primetime wanted to do. He got the right guy for that, because you go back and look at some of the Kent State numbers. They just run play after play after play after play after play. So, they're going to have these kids that are all these twitch kids, all these two steps and gone kids. That's what Deion wants to do. Whether or not it works, we'll find out.
That doesn't help on the defense, though.
No, they don't really have anybody to play over there.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see this Travis Hunter and how Deion uses him, because he's got him at D-back and wide receiver. Is he going to play both sides of the ball? The kid's going to be gassed, in my opinion. I mean, he's a hell of a talent, no doubt about that, but it'll be interesting to see how Deion tries to use him.
Yeah, well, but how I'm not going to knock the kid at all, but he could have played at Georgia.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And he decided not to. So I don't really know when you see you got to think that they've promised him he can play both sides. And I'm sure Kirby didn't tell him. I'm sure Kirby told him he wasn't going to play both sides.
Oh, yeah. I agree. That probably happened.
So
I will say they got one of the best names in college football out of Kentucky, Cavassier Smoke.
Yes.
So, I mean, with a name like that, you better be balling out.
He's trying to recruit he knows he has to go get these players from Kentucky. Look, the DC he hired was an associate DC down with Saban and them. So he's gonna build him. He's gonna get whoever he wants. I mean, he really is. It's just how long is it gonna take him to build a team that can actually play?
Right. And isn't the Pac-12 even still around in a year or two? Where's Colorado going?
They're going back to the Big 12. They might have to.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Big 12 will take them back. I don't know what's about to happen. So it's going to be crazy.
The Pac-12 is up in arms.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough bet next year for you on the over and under if they go back to the Big 12.
Yeah. Well, I probably wouldn't take it that next year, but we'll see how this all plays out, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, listen, honestly, if Deion can get them to 3 games, that would be just a big, big time deal for him, because they're in trouble, man. They got some growing pains that they're gonna have to go through.
All right, Jeff. So let's summarize Pac-12. Tell us some your favorites, your bottom feeders.
Well, my favorites, I like Utah. I really do. I like Utah
At the 5-1.
at the 5-1. I think that's a great bet, man. I like Oregon more than I like USC. I just believe in Oregon more than I believe in USC right now. Till USC can show me that they can actually stop somebody from scoring once. This Alex Grinch, the defensive coordinator over there, he left Oklahoma with Lincoln. Well, Oklahoma, do y'all remember when Burrow played them? to go to the championship in 2019, and I think he had 40-something points. I had 45, but to nothing at halftime or something.
Oh, yes, we do.
Yeah, okay.
Oregon's got the same problem, though, is they can't stop anybody.
Yeah, they can't stop anybody, but I
think you might have a little Bo Nix hangover. You're a little Auburn biased here.
I might be a little
Just
biased.
just a smidge.
I would love to tell y'all that Washington's going to be the one that upsets the apple cart, but, when you have offensive line problems or you're not really sure, you lose 3 starters, you don't really know. You got to see it first. You got to see it. So it's going to be a fun league. There's some good teams over there. Do I think any of them, if they was to get lucky enough to make the Final Four, I don't think they can win.
Josh, the truth's going to come out here when we start talking about Heisman odds, because I think Bo Nix is like 2nd or 3rd. So we'll see where Jess's allegiance is.
Yes, indeed we will. Yeah, he's tied for 2nd favorite at the moment based on our odds that we've got.
Yeah. So
all right, well, let's jump right in. Josh, you want to tell us a little bit about your Heisman Trophy?
Yeah, sure. So we're going to run off our top 3. Is that what we're doing here?
Well, look, we might as well tell them already, because we're not going to stop talking about it. We bet Carson Beck win.
About 6 months ago.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
But we got him at a ridiculous deal at that time as well. So
Well, we also need to add that Chris is not here to put his picks in this week as well. So
yeah, we are missing old Christopher, but he'll be back soon.
Yeah.
All right. With that being said, I'm gonna lead us off here. So my number 1 for Heisman is going to be Jaden Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to be better in year 2. Mm-hmm. Last year was his first year with LSU. He's coming back. He's got a bunch of wide receivers returning. And honestly, I think they're going to upset Bama and end up winning the West. So I got Jaden Daniels at 1. For my number 2 Heisman favorite, I've got Jordan Travis. He's coming in on his 6th year of eligibility. He's like steady bidding at part 2 with a better offense. And I don't think they'll be dogging teams out as much as Georgia was last year. So I think he'll end up playing a little bit more. He's also the first player at Florida State with at least 20 pass TDs and 7 run TDs.
Yeah.
And he's the 4th player in school history with 3,000 total yards and 30 TDs in a season. You know who the other 3 are? Ward, Wanke, and Winston, the triple dubs, and every one of them won the Heisman.
Yep.
you know what's interesting about his 1 and 2 pick is they play each other their first game, and it's basically a redo of their game from last year.
That's right.
And
That could decide the race for one of them right there.
Yep, you got that right. And then finishing up, boys, well, Jeff kind of already alluded to it, but I'm going Carson Beck.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw him in there. He's got an easy schedule, which could hurt him, actually, if he's taken out of the games early. But the defense should keep him on the field. He's got Bowers, best tight end in the country, coming back. Ladd McConkey, great receiver. Rosemary Jack-Saint, Arian Smith are all returning. Not to mention they also picked up 2 great wide receiver transfers, and Ra Thomas from Mississippi State and Dominic Lovett from Missouri. So they are absolutely loaded at wide receiver. If Carson Beck comes out gunslinging and throwing the ball like he looked like he could in the spring game, it could be a great season for him. So
Yeah.
he's a long shot at 20-1, but I'm going to throw a flyer out there on him.
So, Josh, my picks were very similar to yours with the exception of 1. So I did have Jaden Daniels. He's a dual threat, 3,000 yards passing, 1,000 yards rushing. Had him at number 1, had Carson Beck at number 2. And then my 3rd was Caleb Williams at 5-1. But the bad thing is with him being the winner last year, he's got to surpass his numbers for them to even consider him. So, I know I mentioned earlier about him losing some weapons. He is gaining some weapons back. Very deep USC, but I mean he's proven. So
yeah. I mean, I love Caleb Williams. I think he has a huge year. It's just in the history of the Heisman, only one player has won the Heisman twice, Archie Griffin. So even if he has a phenomenal year, I think they give the award to somebody else that's right there with him.
It's very tough. It's going to be very tough for him to, again, even make his numbers he was at last year, and then they just look at it different.
Yeah.
Especially with the way the end of their schedule stacks up.
That's a good point there, Tony.
Yeah, I mean, if he's got more than one loss, then he might not get invited. much less win it.
So let me ask you real quick. I mean, I know we threw Carson Beck out there 20-1. How does Georgia's? I mean, we all know Georgia's strength of schedule this year is a little lower than, for whatever reason. What kind of impact does that have on his chances?
Well, I think he's going to get all the chances he wants. And then Josh is a little more doubtful than I am because, they're going to pull him out and, let Gunner play?
Yeah, I'm assuming. Yeah, I figured. I mean, if it's anything like Stetson Bennett was last year, right? He's getting pulled out in the middle of the third quarter every game. So it's kind of hard to put up Heisman-type numbers when you're getting pulled out every game. So.
Well, and they said Stetson got docked because they had throw these big bombs, and he wasn't getting his touchdown passes in there. Right. Because they ended up running in these 10-yard, 8-yard runs,
Yeah.
Well, Carson is going to stand in the pocket. I mean, he is going to stand in the pocket now. He can flat out sling it now. There won't be no doubt about that arm that kid's got. He can get it done, but so can Gunner. And what's the other one, Vandergriff?
Yeah, Vandergriff, yep. We're loaded at quarterback currently, and Raiola coming in. The future is bright. Let's just hope we keep it rolling.
Yeah. Well, those are all good picks. I definitely agree with Daniels. He was my number one because I'm like Josh. I think LSU does it again. I think they win the West. We'll wait and save our SEC championship picks for later on. But I think Daniels. I think LSU is going to be undefeated till they go to the championship, and we'll see what happens. So if that's the case, he's definitely going to be in the mix for the Heisman, unless something just crazy happens and he gets hurt, and that's possible too. And my second pick was Carson Beck because I think he's going to be a great quarterback on an undefeated team that's going to roll everybody they play. So we got him at, what was it? We get him at 25-1?
I think we got him at 40-1.
40-1, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was, 40-1.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'd even bet him now. Why not? But anyway.
That makes me feel good hearing that from an Auburn fan.
Yeah. And then my third pick, guys, is Cade Klubnik, the kid out of Clemson. This kid, he took over last year, and he did things that DJU just couldn't do for whatever reason it was. So, again, Clemson has an easy schedule. But, every game they play is pretty much easy. They're going to be in the mix for everything again. Everybody keeps forgetting they won the ACC last year. They just didn't go to the playoffs and play for the Natty. But they still won the ACC, whether it's down or not. So I think these kids are going to put up some serious numbers. He can run the ball. He can throw the ball. I think he's going to be a slight dark horse, even though, he's only 25-1. So we'll see what happens. But that's the way I look at it. I would love to tell you guys I can bet one of these running backs down there at Michigan, but they're a double-headed monster, and they're going to take stuff. They're going to take carries from touches from each other. So
I'll tell you, if I was going outside of the quarterback picks, I mean, Marvin Harrison
he's a beast.
Oh my gosh,
he is. Just wide receivers do not win that award. It historically shows, right? What was the last
Devontae
guy from
Smith,
Alabama, that won it?
I'm not even sure how they ended up winning it, but he did. Devontae Smith, yeah. That was a crazy year. Kyler was favored forever and ever and ever, and anyway,
yeah, we'll see. Got a long season ahead of us.
Yep, looking forward to it.
All right, well, let's shift gears here. We're going to talk about the Open Championship. All right, guys, so let's jump right in here. We're going to talk about the Open Championship. So we have Brian Harmon coming in, just basically lapped the field, -6. This is his first win since 2017 and his first career major.
Yeah, and I think Seb Straka finished second, so I think it was two dogs.
Yep, you're right. I believe it was.
I'm pretty sure it was Straka that finished second up there. But anyway, however it goes, he just hit it better than they did, really, than all the rest of them, and it really wasn't close. I mean,
after he was second place after the first round,
one shot off,
and then it was Harmon the rest of the way out.
Harmon
bang.
Shot 65 in the second round or something like that.
Yes, he shot a 67, 65, 69, 70.
Comes out third round, makes bogey.
Yep, and then
Guy tells him he doesn't have the stones to finish, and proceeds to light it up on fire. Gets back to 11, I think.
He went 3 under through the rest of the way, so I just heard him say that.
You know, you mentioned Straka, but Tom Kim came in and ended up tying him for second.
Tom Kim, yeah. He was in the D group.
I took him in a pool, but it didn't pay off for me.
Yeah, the pool was tough. So I felt the course was an interesting challenge. There were out of bounds 13 of 18 holes and inbounds, whatever the heck that was. I mean, when they have to come on and explain to you what it means, and that one on 18, the out of bounds was 3 feet off the fairway. It was just kind of odd. So
the out of bounds inbounds, that's good stuff.
Yeah, and then the insane pot bunkers. But what was crazy, the weather. It basically got worse every day to make it a little bit more challenging. But Brian Harmon he played his game. He didn't get rattled, and at the end, it was just kind of a lackluster finish. But it was still great. We had a great time. We were down at the Beau Rivage in Biloxi watching the tournament every day, doing a little bit of gambling, but it was good. We had a good time.
Good time. I want to say congrats to Cairo Buzz. She or he, they end up winning the pool, so good for them. We had several more that was tied up through there, but guys, these pools aren't easy to hit, man. We have tried and tried and tried, and they're not easy to win. So
yet to be a major winner for us in the pool.
Yeah. So, but we do have one left. The tour's coming up sometime in August. I meant to put the date down there, guys, but I didn't do it. But it's got to be like the 24th or somewhere around in there, right there toward the end of August. So that would be over at East Lake. So we'll definitely have something going on for that right in the middle, getting ready for football season. College football starts the 26th.
Winding down golf, starting up college football and MLB playoffs.
Yep.
Got a big fall coming ahead of us, no doubt.
Yep.
All right, just like every week, guys, let's wrap up the show with our Stray of the Truck awards for the week. Josh?
All right, boys, coming right off our Open Championship talk, my stay in the truck for this week is going to be the entire field, minus Brian Harmon, of course, at the Open Championship. I mean, the guy was absolutely dominating in his performance. He wins by 6 shots. He has 106 total putts, which is just absolutely insane to me as a huge golfer. That is the fewest putts that anyone has had in the last 20 years at a major, which is just mind-blowing again. The most mind-blowing stat I saw, though, was he was 58 out of 59 putts made within 10 feet.
Whoa.
Could you imagine having 59 putts and only missing 1?
I think I'd make like 10.
Yeah.
If that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm maybe like 12.
I mean,
just
wow.
Just a skosh over you, Tony. After the first round, nobody had a shot, as we mentioned, and he was the only one to touch 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 under. So my stay in the truck this week, again, the field at the Open. Just stay in the truck, boys, because Harmon is rolling.
Yep.
They asked that cat, they were like, what are you going to do to celebrate? He said, well, I just got a new tractor, so I'm going to shut my phone off and go sit in my tractor and cut some grass.
All right. Hey, I love a good grass cutting session. Especially when I just won 1.2 million or whatever it is. I don't even know what the payout was, but
good for him.
It was pretty insane.
Yeah.
All right, so my Stay in the Truck award this week is the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. So this cat, Alan Judd, he was a 2-time Pulitzer Prize nominated investigative reporter. He wrote this pretty scandalous story about the University of Georgia's and how Kirby and the folks handled the sexual abuse allegations against its players. But what was crazy is, the university filed a complaint. The AJC did not retract the story. And then last Wednesday, this guy, this 2-time Pulitzer Prize nominated investigative reporter, all of a sudden, some reports said he resigned, some reports said he got fired. Either way, he no longer works there. So, I don't know.
Stay in the truck, Mr. Judd.
Stay in the truck, AJC.
Yeah, that's a good one. So Pac-12 Media Day started today. And, we talked earlier about how this is the end of, the Pac-12 as we know it. They're losing USC and UCLA, who's the two cash cows for sure. Not to discount what Phil Knight has up there in Oregon, but, USC and UCLA's, they're headed out to the Big Ten. So the commissioner, let's make sure I say his name correctly, George Kliavkoff. He shows up today, and you got Brendan Marcello from 247 Sports covering the Pac-12, and he's asking him a couple of questions, and he's telling him, I'm not going to answer that. And then Marcello says, well, can you at least tell us, like, how are you guys going to plan on your primetime game? Like, is it going to be streamed? Is it going to be on ESPN? Is it going to be on ABC? Because they still don't have a deal with, ESPN yet. So they don't really have – they have the Pac-12 network, and I think it might be going away. And he just flat out told him, I'm not going to answer that question either. So George Kliavkoff, Pac-12 commissioner, stay in the truck.
Stay in the truck, George.
Yeah, you're going to need to figure that out. Time's running out.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Thank you, everybody, for joining in. That's this week's show. We're going to talk about next time. We're going to talk about the MAC and the ACC conferences. We're going to talk a little bit about Major League Baseball. And we have one of our favorite upcoming bets, NHL preseason hockey.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Yep.
Please, just a reminder to please rate, review, and subscribe. And please give us some feedback and some comments on how we're doing. That's it for this week's show. Stay in the truck.
Thanks, guys.